Hey everybody, Matt the Monster, back with Marvel Heroes, and we got the Silver Surfer up, finally. After all this long awaited approval, he's approved, and he's out. And he's not on the normal schedule, so he is not a set character, which means he's just a bonus character. And at the end of the month, we should have Mr. Fantastic and the Storm review done. So there's going to be another character. So big month, and we got finally the start of the anniversary celebration rolling. So there's going to be big rewards for you when you log in, big rewards for you when you're doing terminals or X Defense, or I even think Midtown. I'm not sure. I didn't see the reward schedule just as yet. But he's pretty awesome. I got him in the Savage costume here. Zoom up on it. Not too much difference. He's just got a little bit of armor going on and a sword on his back. Pretty cool. His other costume looks pretty much the same, just without the armor and the sword. But definitely like him. Pretty big fan. And what I'm going to do here is I just basically review the skills, basically describe what they are. And then that's it. Then I'm going to power level them, and then I'll do my level 60 cosmic build with them, and that'll be it. So, going to the skills, and I'll start from my usual right to left with him because it's going to be the easiest, as it's the least amount of powers to the most amount of powers. And so we got this polarity field, and this is your basic defensive passive here. It has a passive effect of giving you defense, projectile chance, and regeneration. It's a toggle, and it's a cosmic gift. Cosmic gifts you can have a total of 2 at one time on. So the toggle part, you can have a total of 2 toggles active. You can have as many toggle passive effects as you want, but you can only toggle 2 on at a time. You can turn them on and off at will if that's what you wish to do. However, you can only have 2 active. So it has a very strong passive effect and a decent active effect, which basically reduces incoming damage at a cost of cosmic power for damage done. And also, if you turn it on, you lose maximum cosmic power. Cosmic power is basically spirit. Reconstruct. Now, this is basically an undervalued skill in the forums for the most part. People either value it or don't value it. It gives you regeneration per second and restore cosmic power when you are hit. It lasts for 6 seconds. It's got a 12-second cooldown, and every time you hit it, it reduces the cooldown of deconstruction. I'm just going to scroll over to deconstruct right now, seeing how it has a tie-in together. Deconstruction is a big AoE, and by big AoE I mean just about the size of the screen. And basically everything takes energy damage twice per second. Every time you hit an enemy that's been deconstructed, you restore power cosmic, and it reduces the cooldown of reconstruction by 6 seconds, and it has a 12-second cooldown. And basically each one lasts 6 seconds. So by hitting reconstruct and then deconstruct, you reduce 6 seconds off of reconstruct, and then you hit reconstruct and you reduce 6 seconds off of deconstruct. You're basically kind of cycling each power to make it so it can stay active 100% of the time. So they're very good together. If you're not using one, you really probably shouldn't use the other one. Hyperspace Sidestep. This is basic PvP crowd control immunity ability, and it also makes a knockback. Temporal Recall. This is the passive effect of regenerating you when you're dead. It also has the ability to, you can activate it once every 20 seconds for a 2.5-second stun and some movement speed and attack speed. Cosmic Resonance. This is another gift. While toggled on, you and your allies gain power and toughness, so that's damage rating and then movement and attack speed, and then defense and health. So that's pretty nice ability in itself. Going over from World Sculptor to Starfarer abilities here, we got our basic dash, although this will be a little bit different than a basic dash. And because it has damage, as you can see, energy damage, he's all energy damage, which is very nice. But then he's got these micro beam damage. So as you dash, not only is he zapping with his hands, doing directed attacks at enemies, his board does damage as well. It's an interesting dash. And then each time that you dash, the power cost goes up and the damage goes up. So that's interesting. Comet's Tail is another cosmic gift, and it's a toggle. So it has a passive effect that lets you move through enemies and objects while you're moving. Very nice. And then it has a toggle effect of giving you extra movement speed. And then as you move, it leaves wake energy damage, which is basically does damage twice per second for 3 seconds. It leaves a dot basically in your wake. Very nice added effect. Board Sweep is a point-blank area effect melee attack that does pretty good damage and weakens enemies. It also reduces the cooldown, or its cooldown is reduced by 1 second when you hit with a melee power, or movement power, and its cooldown is 4 seconds. Soar is your basic flight movement ability. Repulse is your basic, knock yourself back away from enemies and hit an enemy. Subspace Slipstream is a teleport. However, it's a very, very expensive teleport, but if you hit an enemy, it only costs half as much. And it's still expensive when it costs half as much, but at least if you hit an enemy, it's not that bad. Death from below actually turns out to be a death from above attack. You basically, instead of doing what the description says, you fly up and slam down on your targets. And every time you hit with a movement power, it reduces its cooldown from 8 seconds by 1 second. And it does a massive amount of damage. Going over to the Power Cosmic Tree here, we got the one and only basic attack. This will hit up to 3 enemies. However, it will not hit one enemy 3 times. So it's okay. And it fires really fast. Refracting Beam is a bounce attack. It bounces up to 5 times and hits 1 extra target. So you get 6 attacks total. It's actually very decent. Very good to level up with anyways. Subspace Rift, very powerful. Makes a nice big hole in the ground. Looks awesome for sure. Looks just like the little cracks that when you're fighting Doom he puts into the floor where you can't walk through. Except your enemies can walk through, and when they're in there they're taking damage and then they become vulnerable. Very interesting, very cool looking effect. Pretty decent damage over time. We already discussed Deconstruct. Electromagnetic Flux is supposed to be the boss burner. And it may not look that great, but it actually does a pretty substantial amount of damage per second on a single target anyways. So it does energy damage, and then it has micro beam energy damage. Basically it's doing double damage per second, and then if I'm calculating it correctly, and the total damage of both attacks is multiplied by 75% for each second, then it's super damage. If not, it's just very good damage. And by that I mean, if both attacks get 75% damage for 1 second channeling, and then you add another 75% damage on top of that for another second of channeling, that's good. If it's only the base attack getting that modifier, then it's okay. But it does do pretty substantial damage, and it will kill your Power Cosmic pretty quick. Power Unconquered is your basic damage rating, crit rating. Oh, they changed this though from Test Center at the last second. That's very interesting. It was crit rating and crit damage rating. Now it's damage rating. Very nice. So If you use a movement power, it increases its effect by 50% also. Very nice passive. Event Horizon is an awesome signature. It does damage twice per second for 8 seconds. It does a nasty slow. I mean, 99%. It's basically a root. However, bosses will ignore, like, it's only like, they're slowed like 40% or so, some of them. And then, it's nasty. It's an awesome, awesome signature. And then Supernova will probably be a staple in anything that's using any kind of power cosmic. It doesn't look so good at first, even at one point. It does decent damage, but it restores 10% of your maximum power cosmic per second for 1.5 seconds. So really that 10% is 15% of your maximum power cosmic being returned to you, because it's over 1.5 seconds of 10%. Because it's per second. You got to keep that modifier in place there. So it's 1.5 seconds times 10% restored, and that percentage of restore goes up as you spend points. So it returns a lot of power cosmic. It's a very good return. And then Convergence is his ultimate. It's pretty disgusting. It does a massive burst of damage, gives you unlimited power cosmic, and makes you invulnerable for 20 seconds. It's pretty insane. And that's the Silver Surfer. He's looking awesome. He was fun to play on Test Center, squishy for quite some time. I definitely have a build I'm going to do that turned out to be not so squishy, and I was able to do some cosmic curse kills and not die, and that's what I based it on. So hope this helps, just to give you an idea of what he's like, and I'll talk to everybody later once I get him leveled up, and I'll show you the build. Talk to you real soon.